Good morning. You are tuned in to July 15th, Roadmap to Success. This is SES's 22-week 2022 training course. If you've missed any of the previous training courses, certainly reach out to us. They will be on YouTube shortly. We're just getting them dictated for you. So any of the previous webinars, I believe we're on week number 14 out of 22 at this point in time, well into summer 2022. Hopefully you're all safe and happy and getting prepared for an amazing AEP or OEP, and wanting to walk you through exactly what's occurring in the marketplace. We'll be discussing CMS regulations, CMS changes. Next week, we'll be discussing marketing as a whole, how to understand your rate of return, how to understand how to market, and having all of those legs out on your marketing tree to make sure that you're producing enough business to have a successful career as well as a successful AEP. So I see a few more still logging in. It is 10 o'clock. We are going to begin promptly every week. If you miss anything, put it in the chat room or certainly send us an email, text us 24/7. All that information will be at the end of the slides. So to help respect your time and to remain punctual with ours, we're going to begin now. Once again, it's Friday morning, July 15th. It is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My name's John Fallett with Senior Enrollment Solutions. And once again, you are tuned into the 2022 22-week training course. Once again, quick disclaimer. Obviously, many of you have been on throughout this entire 22-week training course, taking notes, reaching out to us. It's been amazing, the agent engagement that we've had. Obviously, in tuning in, this will help you launch your business to another level. We'll review topics that bring you back to Sales 101 as well as Insurance 101. Provide additional time for Q&A afterwards. We will be logged on for an additional half hour to 45 minutes, depending on the questions that we have, to help you get those questions answered. Once again, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Request additional topics or information by sending us your requests. If you feel as though we haven't covered something or we covered it too lightly for a deep understanding, please reach out to us. We'll put it into the following webinar and be able to answer your questions at that point in time. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. That's an old Marine saying. It is so true in this industry, though. You have to plan on having a good, successful AEP. If you do not, your performance, your sales will be reflective. And it's going to be a situation where, unfortunately, a lot of agents have guilt or remorse that they didn't work quite as hard as they could have. And the problem is, we all understand in life that once that time is over, that time is over. You're not able to go back and change what you should have changed early on. So stay proactive with your changes. Get your planning together. We do not have much time. Literally, it's less than, well, we're 3 months to the day, correct? We're technically, 88 days out for AEP to begin. However, you can begin marketing effective October 1st, which really only puts us 10 weeks out. In the next 10 weeks, we have a lot to get taken care of to make certain that you are good to go with your AEP and your marketing strategy. Last week, we covered proper mindset and workstation to take your Ehif test, your Gorman, Madahu, whatever test you decide to take for your national exam that allows you to offer Medicare products, meaning the Medicare Advantage and the prescription drug plans. We walk through how to take that test appropriately and expedite that test, hopefully allowing for you to pass that test the first try. By saving the slides, downloading the PDFs, if you're unable to find them, reach out to us. We have them all saved. Let us know and we'll send over the PDFs to you. Study those PDFs. All of the information and all of the answers are in the Ehif from understanding those modules. Take it early. I can't emphasize the importance of this. Almost all of the carrier certs are out. I shouldn't say all of them. Here in Michigan, nearly all of them are out. We're missing 3 or 4. out of 9. So call it 50% or slightly higher. Nationally, it's about 50% of the certifications are out. You should, by this time, be roughly halfway through your certifications. AARP United Health, Molina, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the 4 states, the Anthem multi-state. You also have Humana, if I haven't mentioned it, WellCare, Centene is out. So almost half the carriers, most of the national carriers are out, and you should be able to finish not only your AHIP, but your certifications. Get it out of the way so you're not dealing with this as you're getting into your marketing strategy for AEP. Your homework last week, once again, was to get your AHIP completed. SCS will reimburse your AHIP cost as long as you get it completed by July 31st. Get the AHIP out of the way. Let's work on your certifications so we can get your marketing strategy together to have a successful end of 2022. Take any available carrier certifications that don't require the face-to-face. There are a few. Once again, AARP, United Health, Aetna, Anthem, Cigna HealthSpring, Devoted, Humana, Molina. This list has probably grown a little bit since last week's webinar. So there are a few more on there that you can certainly certify and get those certifications taken care of and understand what the carriers are asking of you with those certification classes. We had a couple questions pop up. One, will SCS reimburse for AHIP? Absolutely. We have a few caveats, right? That we're expecting 5 contracts or 10 applications out of you with a 1/1 effective date. But SCS will reimburse the 125. We're asking of you simply to get the AHIP taken care of through a national carrier's website, right? So it moves from 175 down to 125. Humana, WellCare, AARP, they're all offering that discounted amount. If you decide to take Gorman or you decide to take Madahu, that's perfectly fine as well. We'll reimburse the cost for that also. If you haven't taken your AHIP, will it be for current or next year? It'll be for both. So for new agents coming on, by taking this AHIP for 2022, technically for 2023 sales year, it will allow for you to offer business not only in 2022, but also for 2023. Is there a difference in taking AHIP with one carrier over another? No, it basically lands you in the same AHIP portal. As a note to self, once you are in the AHIP portal, you will want to transmit or retransmit your AHIP while you're in there to every carrier listed. So that way you don't have to go back in that portal again to resubmit or retransmit your AHIP to these carriers. I accidentally paid the full price for AHIP. Will I get reimbursed? Not this year. It's $50, right? And once again, write 10 apps, have 5 carriers, produce with SCS, and we'll help you get that reimbursed in full if necessary. What happens if I fail my carrier certs? We went through this in week 5, I believe. If you happen to fail the AHIP or you happen to fail your carrier certifications, we do have agents, unfortunately, fail those carrier certifications. You're only allowed 3 attempts. And in those 3 attempts, if you happen to fail, the carrier will no longer allow for you to represent them or offer business with that carrier the following year. If this happens to take place with you, and you fail your carrier certifications, we need for you to reach out to us where you can assign your book of business to SCS, and we then are licensed and appointed with that carrier and have passed the certifications, obviously. We would then pay you for your renewal income to get you through that upcoming year. So you're not out thousands of dollars or potentially tens of thousands of dollars because you had a few internet glitches or what have you, and the carrier doesn't allow for you to complete or finish the certifications, or you failed them for some reason. But typically it's a technical issue that has you fail right? You've lost internet, it counted as one and whatever else happens. So anyway, once again, yes, if you fail your carrier certs, reach out to us. We'll either buy that book of business if you're no longer interested in offering that carrier, or you can assign your book of business to us and we will help you remain receiving your renewal income. Do carriers require additional elective style certifications? A few do. So keep in mind, AARP specifically, United Health, through the Jarvis app or website, they do have an additional certification for you to offer the DSNP, CSNP plans in a grassroots event or an event setting. So if you are an agent that wishes to tie in with United Health for their formal or informal seminars, that is an elective certification that they will require for you to have. Humana is similar as well. They also have an elective certification in running events and having the carrier understand how you're going to remain compliant in the industry in running these formal and informal events. Marketing guidelines have changed. If you are unaware, these all changed July 9th. There's the link to the PDF for the new marketing guidelines. The MAPD marketing pieces, including mailer pieces, trifolds, all need to be approved. This is a huge change. So really, let's start with your generic mailer pieces. If you're purchasing generic mailer pieces through Lead Concepts or Target Leads or Kramer Direct or where have you, they now have a multi-plan code on their mailer pieces. They're mentioning Medicare benefits, dental, vision, hearing, over-the-counter transportation. If any of that is on any marketing material that you have, including your business card, it now needs to be approved through CMS and have a multi-plan marketing material approval number on it, is what it's called. You may have seen this on some websites, right? If you go onto a carrier website and you scroll all the way down, on the very bottom in their footer, it has their multi-plan marketing code. We all need this code now. So if you are an agent that has dental, vision, hearing, or whatever on your business card, it either A, needs removed, or B, you need to send it to us so we can submit it to CMS to obtain that multi-plan marketing material. Any trifolds, any quarterly newsletters, any AEP postcards, any flyers that you're putting up at laundromats, Section 8 housing, what have you, all of this now is required to have a multi-plan marketing material approval number. Does it stink to have to get everything reprinted? Absolutely. But what's worse is the potential of losing your license. So review all of your marketing material that you currently have, that you're planning on creating, and let's make sure that you get it in our hands so we can get that multi-plan marketing material on it sooner than later so it can go into print, or so that you have time to get it mailed out to your current consumers or out to consumers that you're looking to market. We obviously can help you submit and obtain your multi-plan approval. Create marketing pieces now, right? Approval time increases closer to AEP as everyone's creating their billboards, their TV commercials, their AEP postcards, the carriers, the call centers, the agents, the agencies. Time is going to drag out longer and longer the closer you get to AEP. I beg of you, do not begin submitting your marketing materials anytime really after August 15th. September 1st, absolutely latest. You will not have time to get it, the multi-plan taken care of and that ad created and approved and sent out to your consumers for that October 1st kickoff of AEP. So first and foremost, we need to create a marketing strategy and a budget. Super, super important. Next week's webinar on the 22nd, we're going to go through all marketing strategies, the budgets, and the understanding your rate of returns that come back off of that. So stay tuned for next week. We'll have a deep dive into marketing and preparing your marketing pieces for AEP. Complete your certifications early as they launch. As I mentioned, half of them are already open. If you need links, if you need assistance in logging in or resetting a password, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to provide you the new carrier sites. Some of them are changing as technology continues to adapt. So must we. So in setting up that marketing and your certifications, get in and certify early with your certifications. SES will be hosting lunch and learns as well as webinars for those carriers that require that face-to-face or webinar. Stay tuned. We'll be letting you know via marketing materials, obviously social media, our website, on when those dates will be coming and which carriers will be attending. So here locally in Michigan, you have 2 carriers. You have Priority Health and HAP that are requiring either a face-to-face or a webinar setting. Customize and download carrier marketing materials as they become available. So you are able to begin ordering Humana, for instance, effective August 20th is the date that it opens. So if you need applications, obviously SES will have them. Once again, we do courier 24-hour service, right? So if you let us know by 4 o'clock the day before, we can have applications on your doorstep the following morning. However, with the carriers, all the carrier marketing materials is approved. The positive, it's approved. You need to do nothing. You can go into Humana's portal, Aetna's portal, United Health's portal, and they have postcards and pre-approved marketing materials and flyers and everything for you. The downside is you are no longer an independent representative. You are now representing a carrier. And if that consumer already has that carrier, you really don't stand a chance in selling them because they're never going to reply off of your marketing piece because there's nothing to reply to. They feel as though you're representing that carrier or you work for that carrier. So why bother phoning you if they want a different carrier? Implement call recording to comply with CMS 5.9 ruling. We went through this. We're going to go through it again. There's been a tremendous amount of buzz, talking, questions. Basically, what it has come down to is if you are making a sales call, your call must now be recorded. You must let the consumer know it is being recorded. And there is a prompt that you must play within the first 60 seconds of that call. If you need the prompt, we have it. If you need the literature from CMS 5.9 ruling that takes effect October 1st, it's going from a rule to a law October 1st. Madahu has a website that you can go to. I believe it's through the Madahu website where you can actually petition this. The reality is October 1st, this is going to begin, and you need to remain compliant. So SES has set up a call recording platform for you on any iOS, any phone. So it doesn't matter if it's Apple or Android. If you write business for SES, it'll be included, obviously, as a value-added benefit that we provide to you as independent agents. But understanding that compliant rule is incredibly important to make certain that you're not getting yourself into trouble come this upcoming annual enrollment period. Purchase any technology, download carrier apps, do what you need to do to increase your efficiency. Do you need a new headset? Do you need a second monitor? Do you need a better keyboard or mouse? What about an office chair that's ergonomically correct? Or maybe even an extra padding in your car to allow for you not to be as tired or as drained at the end of a day. We need for you to really understand your efficiency in producing business, whether or not you're a call center style agent or you're telephonic or you're visiting consumers belly to belly. That efficiency is paramount in writing enough business or applications for you to continue to grow your business. Leave the emotion out and understand the psychology. The consumers are not going to change. It's you that needs to change. With that change and with perfecting your sales pitch, if you will, whether or not that's your appointment setting strategy, whether or not that's how you prepare yourself for a grassroots event, whether or not that's how you're preparing yourself for a telephonic close, it is crucial that you have your mindset in order and you understand the psychology of every sale that the consumer will ever go through and you will go through as a sales agent, right? So the one thing in any industry is it's always easiest to sell a salesman. we don't necessarily truly understand the psychology of it all. If you need assistance, Joe Girard has the psychology of the close. Zig Ziglar, there's a gazillion YouTube videos and books on that psychology. I believe it's on the SES Agent website as well, under Business 101. But you need to understand that psychology to help you increase your efficiency and your closing ratio. Get your business organized. This week, we're expecting, obviously, for you to understand how to increase traffic and calls. How many leads do you need versus how much does it cost? And to get your marketing plan together. At least begin your thoughts. Next week, we'll go through marketing, all of it, nuts to bolts, and how to remain compliant with that marketing through AEP and OEP. Right now, I really just need you to sit back and begin to think, what production did I write last year or the year before, the last 3 years, go out 5 years? And what percentage of increase am I looking for? How many apps am I looking to write? And how am I going to begin getting there? Increase your appointment, your call ratio. How many leads do you need versus how many appointments do you set versus how many closes do you have? Increase your appointments that show. Decrease the no-show ratio. You can never get this number down to 0. It won't ever happen. If you are a field agent, you will get porched. It's just a matter of fact. Now, how can you decrease that porch ratio? And there are tips and tricks to that to ensure that the consumer is going to be there and be healthy and be dressed and be awaiting my presence, for me not to drive a half hour to their home only to find out that they're at the doctor's office, or only to find out that they're no longer interested in me visiting with them because they already found a different plan online or met with a different agent. Increase your closing ratio of some product. It doesn't matter the product. Pick the one you're weakest on. Are you not very strong offering hospital indemnity plans? Well, let's work on that. Let's come up with a script. Let's come up with a close, and let's increase that ratio. Not very good at offering dental or cancer or whatever it may be, final expense, annuities. Let's pick the one that you've offered the least amount on, and let's go to work on that to build that into our AEP sale. Once again, the more apps that you have with a consumer, or products that consumer has with you, the longer the retention and the more referrals you're able to obtain out of that business. You are a marketer. That's the reality to it. It doesn't matter what title you have, you're a marketer 95% of your day. I'll put this into perspective. A realtor sits at the closing table how often a month? Maybe once or twice a month, because they're selling 1 or 2 homes a month. As a realtor, you're out marketing yourself constantly. As an agent, you're out marketing yourself constantly. And if you're not, we need to begin to get you out marketing. And if you don't know how to market yourself, stay tuned next week on the 22nd. Once again, we're going to dive into all of the marketing strategies, the cost, the rate of return that you can expect out of your marketing efforts. But with that marketing mindset, you need to be screaming off the highest mountaintop, this is who I am, this is why you need to work with me, and this is what I do. And that is so, so important to understand. You will not be closing people. They will not be finding you on your sofa in your living room. Whether or not you're out physically in the community, representing yourself, either donating your time, marketing, having grassroots events, formal events, or whether or not you're doing it digitally or via paper, you have to be letting people know why it is that you need to contact me and what I can do to help you. Understand what works and what doesn't. Years ago, as an independent agent, quick story, I got into a mass marketing packet that goes out to thousands of consumers, and it was incredibly expensive. And I wrote one application. It netted me several $1,000s that took however long to obtain that rate of return back. And I obviously didn't mark it like that again. You need to understand what works, and you need to keep track of where your consumer came from. Did they come from a flyer at the laundromat? Did they come from a trifold at a dentist office? Did they come from a trifold at a barber shop? Where did this consumer come from? What did it cost you to put up that marketing? And what is your rate of return, your cost per acquisition? Now, this industry is very difficult to really understand that true cost of acquisition because we get paid for the life of the policy. So now we need to start looking at the law of average. How long does a consumer typically remain on your books? And is that a number that you're currently keeping track of? When I offer coverage to someone, we all know that CMS has a flat commission, right? And that flat commission is for pretty much 99% of the agent community. So let's assume that you're making $275 a year. If you can keep that consumer on your books for 4 years, you just made $1,000. If it costs you 59 cents to print a flyer and $1 in gas and $5 in time, or however deep you want to really understand your rate of return, to put up that flyer cost me $6, but I just made $1,000. The problem is oftentimes agents are really only focused on that first year. This is not a first year industry. This is not a get rich quick scheme, right? This is something that takes years to build up this book of business and this referral sprawl, but that marketing remains consistent through that time. Unfortunately, we are in an industry that has a percentage of individuals that either A, will move out of your area, your service area, and you'll lose them, or B, the attrition due to death or changing of plans. Maybe they get renal kidney disease and go into a different style plan or what have you. There is a rate of attrition that you have to take into account. So once again, how long is the average consumer on your book of business? And let's not continue to focus on that first year. Maybe we assume we can keep a consumer on for 3 years. So let's look at a 3-year figure. But that rate of return and understanding what marketing is working for you and what marketing is not working for you will allow for you to put more time and energy into the marketing that's obviously working. Marketing is an investment. It's not a cost. It's an investment in your business. Eventually, either Uncle Sam is going to take it from you in the form of taxes, or you're going to continue to feed the beast, i.e. growing your business with marketing and not pay the tax on that. Get with a CPA if you have questions, but the reality is if you're not marketing, you're not making any money, and all of this is a moot point anyway. Marketing is a big black hole where you can lose it all, and that is so, so true. There are many companies that go belly up because their marketing strategy was terrible, or many companies that just spend far too much money on the marketing side. And if you do that and you're not really paying attention to your rate of return, that becomes a problem. You should understand that for every dollar you put out in marketing, you should obtain $2 back in revenue. That should be the number that you should be focused on. So if I put $1,000 this month into marketing, I should be earning $2,000 back. Now, whether or not you want to look at that as first year or a combined 3-year, a combined 5-year, that's entirely up to you. But that marketing as a whole, you can get yourself into serious trouble, especially if you're looking at some of these more expensive marketing pieces. Is that TV commercial at $15,000 really worth it? How many apps do you need to write? How many consumers do you need to talk to? How many people need to be interested enough to call that 1-800 number in order to break even or at least begin to make money? Subtle changes can increase your marketing return. Huge differences. If you were to reach out to a lead vendor to send out a generic mailer piece, they basically all look the same. Why? Because they have to be approved by CMS. We changed our generic mailer piece. We limited the number of fields that the consumer has to fill out, which then increased our rate of return. It also increased the data that we were able to be receiving, which allows us to make more contact, which allows us to make more sales. those subtle changes in your marketing are immense. I was talking to a marketing company yesterday, and we were discussing having the same ad run for 30 days, which doesn't make any sense to me. If someone's colorblind, for instance, and you're getting this green ad over and over, it may not look very nice to you. So why not create the same ad in green, red, blue, and purple? And then we can start seeing, once those ads go out, which one's going to work the best, and then begin to drive more traffic to that one colored ad. Statistically, once again, $1 in marketing should yield you about $2.20 in overall return. Say $1 to $2, but it's very important that you understand that, once again, it's an investment in your business. This is not a cost. Before you market, if not carrier specific, get it approved. Once again, you can order anything from HAP, Priority Health, Aetna, Blue Cross, doesn't matter. Go right on their websites. They all have carrier approved marketing materials. If it is something that you're wanting to represent your own agency, I want to send something out on behalf of SCS that then needs approved. And specifically, if it has dental, vision, hearing, prescriptions, right, anything plan related, purchase your new plan that has a zero cost insulin that would need approved. You're discussing plan specifics. Not only would that need to be approved through the carrier, we would then also need to get it approved through CMS for the multi-plan. Begin with inexpensive, utilizing your time instead of your money. As we discussed, you have two options. You can either throw money at marketing or throw your own time or other people's time that may be willing to volunteer with you to help you grow your business, like your children or your spouse or what have you, right? So you're either spending your money or your time in your marketing. To put up flyers at all of the laundromats in a city next to our office, there's basically 7 laundromats. We've narrowed it down. It takes about 45 minutes for someone to go out once a week and put up flyers at these laundromats. So it basically takes, call it an hour. You're driving roughly 22 to 23 miles to get flyers up at 6 locations. More importantly, you're meeting the staff that work at the laundromats. And if you can get in with the staff, bring them in some donuts, bring them in a breakfast bagel or whatever the case may be. Feed them and talk to them every week that you're in. Don't just walk in with your head down, but get to know the person that's at the dentist office that you're putting trifolds up at. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning. How are you? I'm good. I'm just replacing all the trifolds that your patients took. Hey, thanks for referring me out. Here's a box of donuts, right? Or you could purchase a TV commercial, a Pandora commercial, a billboard. Some of the marketing out there can be very, very expensive. If you are not ready to take that on in your industry or in your career, certainly start by spending your time putting up your business cards at every Panera Bread. Do a map search, get your business cards or a flyer up there, and then religiously stop by there at least once a month to make sure that you have enough business cards, that they're still up and someone hasn't taken them down. That basically is free. There's so much low cost or almost free marketing that you can do as an agent to brand yourself and to really get your name out in the industry. We'll discuss all of that once again in a week's time. Once again, what is your marketing strategy? Gather your locations, gather your laundromats. Figure out if you want to market to dentist offices. Even barbershops are amazing. They talk to dozens and dozens of people on a daily basis. So there's so many locations that you can market. If you need trifolds made or you want to use carrier trifolds, we can help you get those ordered. But what is your strategy? And once you have a strategy, we then need to implement it so we can begin understanding the numbers that come out of it, right? If one dentist office starts, you start seeing that you have trifolds at, let's say, a half a dozen dentist offices. That's about as much as an agent generally wants or chooses to handle. So you've befriended a half a dozen dentist offices that all accept carrier A. You've reached out to carrier A, you've gotten trifolds with your name and number in there, and now they're sitting at the dentist office. Out of those 6 dentist offices, one of them is going to perform better than the others. And obviously, we're going to need to stay in closer touch with that dentist office that's outperforming the others. And we may want to just drop the others and go find 5 others or 6 others in hopes that we can find another performing dentist office, right? Don't beat your head up against a wall going in week after week, seeing that they haven't given or recommended your trifold to anyone. It's not working. Now you're wasting your time, even though you don't have a whole lot of money invested in the marketing strategy. Work up to the very expensive, spending, once again, your money, not your time. Eventually, you can get to a point where you're dropping tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing to generate enough leads to pay off that marketing and then obviously grow your business. You need to measure your results. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-based. Be smart about this. Can you identify a call that may not be worth your time and move on quickly? That is so crucial. If you have leads pouring in during AEP, you cannot spend an hour on the phone with someone that's a UAW employee. It's not going to work. You better be selling them a life insurance policy or a one-pay and moving their CD over or selling them an annuity. But to talk about Medicare with them would be absolutely a waste of time. So recognize who you can help, who has an interest, who has a need, and how can I help these individuals? And if you can't, dump them. Can I listen and present according to the customer's needs? How good is your listening? Because they'll tell you the whole story. They'll tell you how they needed to change their plan because their dentist retired and they need to find a new dentist or whatever the case may be, but listen intently. Many of you on the call have heard before that I've always talked about being a gazelle at a watering hole, right? Ears perked up, maybe one in a different direction. You have to listen to your clients. They will tell you what they need. They will tell you their level of interest, not only off of body movement, but also off of what they're actually stating to you. Measure your results on a daily, a weekly, or a monthly graph. Understand what you've done yesterday and hold yourself accountable. We do have a point scale. You can create your own points if you want. We can help you create points and understand all of the marketing that goes through with all of those points, which if you keep track of your points or keep track of your results on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, your sales will follow. Get off of the how many sales I'm going to write. How are we going to get you to those sales is my concern. The sale is the easy part. It's having someone make contact with you off of your marketing or finding that consumer, having them be at home, not port you, have them actually understand the product, need the product, and then the sale is the easy part. That's just filling out an application or going online, right? Constantly change your process to reflect your new ideas, improvements to your presentation, and measure your results. If you need to change your presentation, you need to tweak it. You find that by hanging up your coat, it gives you an 8% higher rate of return. Hang up your coat, right? There's all sorts of little parts to your behavior and your verbiage and your style that will dramatically change the results of how many sales you're actually making. So keep an eye on what you're stating to someone, what their behavior is back. Are they intrigued? Are they interested? Are they offended? What did you state to them? And then change that ever so slightly so that way you can make it through your presentation in an efficient manner to get them closed and move on with your day. You need to set realistic and obtainable goals. I cannot tell you the number of agents that walk in this office in their first year saying, I'm going to write 500 consumers. Okay. Where are you obtaining this list from? Where are you finding these 500 consumers? And have you run the numbers to be able to write 500 apps in your first year? Do you understand what your marketing strategy must be in order to write that level of business in year one? And the answer 99% of the time is no, it's just a wish. It's not a goal. Write it down, make it realistic, make it obtainable, and we'll help you next week in crunching the numbers so we can work backwards. Do you want to write 100 applications this AEP? 200 applications this AEP? How many applications do you want to write this annual enrollment period? And then we can work backwards off of the rate of return for generic mailer pieces, the rate of return on a billboard, the rate of return for flyers, the rate of return for grassroots events. What do we need to do to help you work backwards from this wish or this desire to write 100 applications or 250 applications or 500 applications, whatever you are needing or wanting out of this industry in your first year, second year, whatever year it may be in. CMS compliance. CMS requirements. Are you able to prove that the sale was not generated from an outbound call? This has been in place for many, many years. This has not changed. You need a consent to contact of some kind for the MAPD PDP. Obviously, this holds true with door knocking as well, right? We can't go door knock wanting to write a final expense policy and then change the whole thought process into a Medicare Advantage plan. It doesn't work like that, right? So we need to be able to prove, how did this consumer find me? And how did this correspondence begin? Was it an email from their sister that they CC'd, or right? Where did this sale come from? You have to be on top of your own due diligence. CYA, right? Cover your hiney. Ensure that you are protected. Now, your FMO, your NMO, your MO, top tier hierarchy will help you with this. We have the legal, we have the compliance on the back end. If you happen to get an allegation, we'll help you through that. But it all comes back to, how are you covering yourself to ensure that you are compliant throughout your sales call or throughout your meeting with that consumer? Are you recording your calls? Currently, are you recording your calls? There are some platforms through Google Voice, etc., that allow for you to record your calls, but they're not necessarily being stored securely or encrypted, and they're not being stored HIPAA securely, and you may not be able to get back to them, especially in a 10-year period. So the ruling that just came out on May 9th, which we'll cover further next week as well, that comes into law October 1st, you have to be recording all of your sales calls. Many of you that are field agents are saying, that's okay, I don't do any closes over the phone. You might, on December 5th and 6th, you might have seen someone, left the app packet, went through your presentation, they thought about it, and then they phone you back just to get the application done. On the 5th or the 6th, you may not have time to drive out to that consumer's home to pick up the app. And then therefore, you may just want to complete the application digitally, as every carrier now offers online applications, to just complete it over the phone and save yourself that 45 minutes out, 45 minutes back, wear and tear on your car, right? More and more agents are getting into that telephonic sales side of things to help with their efficiency. If you are not recording your calls, reach out to us. We do have a call recording platform, which we'll be announcing here in 2 weeks' time. We will be providing that to SES agents as well. Was the application completed on the consumer's IP address? Very important for those of you that have a brick and mortar office with consumers coming in, that oftentimes you're using the same iPad or you're using the same computer. It doesn't matter, it's still within the same IP address of that office. And if the carrier sees that you're writing dozens of applications on the same IP address, they're going to question, what exactly are you doing? They feel as though you're completing it on your own and that the consumer is not completing this application. So if you are in the field, be very aware of completing applications on the same iPad through your hotspot on your phone to be secure, right? Because it's going to come across as the same IP address. So when you're doing a PURL especially, that should be handled on the consumer's IP address. Joyce, where's your iPad? Let's get through this on your computer to make sure that it's handled compliantly at your home. Was the agent present during the application? That's been a huge question. There were several Medicare supplemental carriers that did not pay commissions if it was not a belly-to-belly sale. And that's changed a lot with COVID, but specifically with your PURL, the carrier does not want you present or guiding or encouraging that sale through your PURL link. This link should be something where you're texting or emailing it to a consumer and they're able to complete that enrollment on their own. Have you reviewed your carrier changes and updates? The carriers too are changing some of their compliance rules to keep up with CMS, meaning that they have different portals for you, right? Aetna's no longer using Miramar, they're using Think Agent. So there's been a lot of changes on the carrier platforms. If you don't know what platforms to utilize, please reach out to us. We do have a where and how to submit your applications, basically for all MAPD and PDP carriers. So get into the carrier sites as you're completing your certifications and understand what updates they may have and where you can go in order to compliantly write their business. CMS.gov, Medicare health plans, right? Here's your guidelines. Take a screenshot of this, or you can copy and paste it, or if you need, we can certainly copy and paste it for you as well, or send it over to you. This is the 199-page guideline. It's basically page 194 through 196 that you need to keep an eye on, or through the HIPAA or the Ehif module, module 4. I believe it's slide 46, has the compliance guidelines for CMS. It's just a one-pager. They barely talk about it, but it is something that you need to understand and you need to begin to abide by, so it keeps you out of CMS issues or compliance issues. The FCC, they too have compliance issues. They have requirements. You may not solicit a call on an outbound call. Some states, you cannot solicit, period, telephonically. And that becomes a different way of marketing for agents. You may not dial on federal holidays. Look up the federal holidays in your state or in the states that you're working, because some states like Louisiana has a different federal holiday in there because of Mardi Gras, right? So understand your federal holidays, that you're not dialing during those federal holiday times. You may not dial before or after certain times of the day. And that's very important too. You can't call Robert back at 11:30 at night. If he reached out to you and requested it, right? Hey, I work afternoons, I get home at 10, call me at 11:30. If you choose to, then fine, but you cannot be dialing off of individuals that did not initially make contact with you at 5 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. You may not have more than a 3% dropped call ratio. For those of you using dialers, Act or anything of this, the like, Mojo dialers, what have you, Dolphin, etc., you cannot have more than a 3% dropped call ratio. That's why most of us are using, we're not using predictive dialers, we're using progressive dialers. The progressive dialer is CMS compliant. If you are on a predictive dialer, I would strongly suggest you cease immediately and move yourself to a progressive dialer. You must state who you are. There's certain things within that FCC compliance. The DNC comes into play, right? Respecting consumers' do not call wishes, etc. So there's so many levels of compliance in this industry, starting with the FCC when you're telephonic, to the CMS when it comes to marketing, to the carrier when it comes to enrollment, storage, security. If you have questions, please reach out. If you don't know if something is secure or how you're storing it is secure, please reach out. But the days of keeping your applications in your living room for a consumer that's already, those days have to cease. I know there's a lot of agents out there that have written business long ago, right? When MAPD first became back in 2008, the rules were very, very different. We used to be able to provide dinners to people and literally have drawings for big screen TVs. And I mean, it was very different times. And since those drawings for big screen TVs and dinners, etc., were allowed, CMS over the last, call it almost 2 decades, has really been honing in on this compliance to not steer or confuse the consumer with their enrollment process. So recognize the FCC compliance, as you will be now needing to record your calls. It's an inevitable situation, right? Even for the field agents that say, I'll never have to record a call, you will have to record a call. It's going to come December 5th or 6th, so get yourself prepared. And once again, let's begin to understand the carrier compliance and the CMS compliance as well. To review, get your compliance in order, right? Learn to CYA, especially if you're an agent that's maybe on the border and you're a non-resident agent in a different state. You may know your state laws, requirements, etc. But if you're, for instance, in Monroe County, Michigan, and you pop down into Toledo and you conduct business in Ohio and Michigan, or many agents, out on the west side of Illinois, when you're popping into Iowa and you're just crossing over the bridge, you have to understand what your non-resident states. The federal do not call list, their compliance, how do those states really recognize, so you can understand and make sure that you're compliant and representing in multiple states. Update any technology needed now. Get it implemented, get it beta tested, and make sure that it's the right fit for you, so you're not having to run out to a Micro Center or an Office Depot or where have you in the middle of AEP because you didn't realize that your hands were too big for your keyboard, or you just went out and purchased a keyboard on October 15th or a mouse or what have you. Get it implemented now. Get settled in now. You have just a few weeks until AEP begins, and it's going to come up on us incredibly quickly. Have your clients list organized. This is from week 6 or 7, I believe. If you have not done so thus far, it is so crucial to have your clients list organized. So next week, we can begin to let you know how to market to them, vendors to use, costs, ways of marketing to your current book to obtain their referrals, their friends and family. Prepare your marketing. Submit for approval for that multi-plan. It must be used. Go through your business cards, your trifolds, your table tents, your flyers, your quarterly newsletters, whatever it is, your website if you happen to have one. Make sure that either you're removing this data, dental, vision, hearing, prescriptions, what have you, or you're submitting it for a multi-plan approval. Order your carrier-specific marketing materials as they come out. As I mentioned, August 20th, Humana launches, so you can begin to order your marketing materials to make sure that it's printed, you have them, and you're ready to go long before October 1st. Any mailer pieces you're looking to get created for your current consumer book to remind them that it's AEP and you're still conducting business in the marketplace, or for new consumers that you're looking to market to. If it's not a branded carrier, a carrier branded marketing piece, you once again have to get it approved. So your homework, have your book of business organized. It shouldn't take you long. If you need help, many do not really enjoy Excel. It's kind of a different platform for them, but that's basically where everything starts, right? It starts off in Excel. Get your book of business organized for any email blasts that you wish to put out, any mailer pieces you wish to put out. If you want to begin implementing holiday cards, Thanksgiving's a great time, or even creating a Halloween, because right in the beginning of AEP, right? Don't be scared of your Medicare costs, or something of that nature. We need to get this approved. Be creative with your marketing strategy, but let's make sure that it's all approved so you remain compliant. If you have not completed your Ehif, I beg of you, get it done this weekend, right? It shouldn't take you very long. If you need assistance, reach out. We're here 24/7 to assist you. If you get your Ehif completed by July 31st, We will reimburse the cost of your Ehif for you once again. Get your marketing plan created. It is so important. We'll help you through this next week in depth. I really want you just to focus on how much income do I want to make? Do I want to make $50,000 this AEP? Great. How do I help you get to the goal of making $50,000? Is it only off of writing DSNPs? Do we have a mix of business with MAPD, Med Sup, final expense, annuity, what have you? I need to know what you're comfortable in writing, what you typically are writing, and what you'd like to begin to write so I can help you really understand a marketing plan. And then begin implementing and creating your marketing materials and your marketing plan. Wow. We are just about out of time. So I appreciate all of you tuning in. Tune in next week. Once again, we're on week 14 for marketing strategies, how to get them implemented, what kind of thoughts to use for marketing, what we do for marketing if you haven't seen it already, and how to remain further compliant with the marketing side of things. Once again, please take your Ehif, start your carrier certification, stay on top of this. Be part of the industry that is proactive and professional in writing your business and being prepared for a phenomenal annual enrollment period. Once again, I'm John with Senior Enrollment Solutions. You need us, text us, phone us, email us, put in the chat room. We'll be on for another half hour or so. So any additional questions, certainly reach out on that end. I'm going to log off. It's 11 o'clock. I want to respect your time. And all of you enjoy a safe, happy weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.